Hey everybody, it's Friday, March 22nd. Today is the 19th day of the actual challenge itself. Happy, happy Friday. So thank you for being here today. I bet. Today we're going to continue with what we've been doing all week, which is the marketing, the demos, the beef of your whole agency, like everything they're going to see, everything they're going to try, what you're going to sell with, all that stuff. So let's keep going on this. All right. So I've already shared in the chat the notes. I'll also put the notes in the recording on the group like I normally do. So if you want to grab the notes, they're here. They haven't changed too much. We're just going to keep going with where we've been. So let's see where we are. Okay. Shrink this down a lot. I'm just going to go to a different window. Okay. Okay. So agent chatter. Any CloseBot? Working on a couple bots today. And then we need our testing environment, which is here. Actually, if I break this into two. Oops. Okay. Start this over. Okay. Okay, then we need to go high level. All right, so where we left off yesterday is a few different things. So we have our single page, one pager here, our demo with the form. We dealt with form handling in two ways yesterday. So we did this form, which made the the opt-in, or it did the opportunity on your pipeline that we created. Looks like this. So whenever a lead comes in from this form, when they try a demo, we created this pipeline called demo opt-in. Well, I erased my lead, so we got to do it again, but watch. So when I submit this, I have to agree to the terms. Let me just double check. Okay, so I'll fix this for you guys also. Let me fix this real quick. I just realized. Let me give you the terms and conditions. Let me put the terms and conditions links in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go to sites.
Are you showing your screen?
Oh, nuts! All right, I'll start over. Sorry, guys.
I was waiting on somebody else to say
Oh my
it. I
God,
was
yeah,
like, am I
speak up.
tripping?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Good thing I'm recording this. All right, I can start over. My bad. Hey, everybody, I messed up one more time. So I just didn't record. All right, I didn't share my screen. Yeah. I am on so many Zooms and it's just like, it should be automated. I wish it had AI so I could control it with my brain. All right, now can you see my screen? My bad. All right, let's do this. So no problem. All I was doing, honestly, was opening up windows. So I opened up this window here. I've got our Go High Level instance open. I've got our web page here and then our bot here. Okay. So that's all I really did. That's all I missed. Sorry. All right. So we're going to go down to, what's it called? Agent Chatter, the default bot. This is the main bot. I also want to do one thing real quick. I'm been working with someone, and after doing this over and over and over again, we've been using the word receptionist as the catch-all bot, especially in this instance where it'll be able to route them, and this will be the first bot they see. Sam is fine. Okay, cool. I'm gonna save that. You can name whatever you want, but I've been liking receptionist. Okay, cool. So now we're doing this live demo. So here's the form that pops up. I'm fixing this. So I said that I need to fix this terms and conditions link real quick. I'm gonna do that. Now you can see my screen, right? So I'm gonna go to sites. I go to one pager. The terms are done. They're all in here, right? We talked about these. So all I got to do is go to forms and the add, and here is the link that I want to make sure I have. I'm going to go to forms, opt-in. I'm going to click on this here, highlight this, highlight this. I think maybe we could just click it. I'll highlight it. Then I do this broken link, and then I add the link. Okay. So now it's going to go to the right place. There we go. So you guys have the right thing. Okay, so if I look at this, okay, cool. And don't forget to go through and change this for your own agency. Okay, so now it's going to work. So now I do try free demo. Two things will happen. It's going to go to this simple page. You can make this much nicer, obviously. And it also added you to, or added the lead to this opportunities pipeline. See? So, and we gave it a value of $36,000. This is realty. What if they're buying or selling a home? I mean, I don't know. It's a high number, but it is also real estate. So this is the opportunity pipeline that we created for the demo opt-in. Okay. Now we have a listing bot and we have a buying bot. The buying bot, we need to make that. I need to do something with this because there's also going to be a main bot on Agent Chatter, which is going to be the reception bot, which we're going to hook up today too. So let's finish with the listing bot, I believe is where we were. Okay, so I got the listing bot. This is the only listing you see here. You can change the picture. You can do whatever you want to update this. I preferred if you did, but whatever. We changed all this stuff. So this actually does attempt to make a phone call, which is a cool selling point because it is useful, especially in a mobile environment. Contact agent brings up this form, and this is what we're working with here. We cooked this up yesterday so that this will send an email. We tested that and it worked great, but the email wasn't hooked up to the listing bot yet because we didn't have a listing bot, if you remember. So I'll show you an email. I'll show you the email that it sent yesterday. So watch. So when this form is submitted to this web page, when this form gets submitted, it goes through this automation. Listing, same listing, 7922, 7922. Very simple. It updates that opportunity we talked about. It adds a tag. Okay. And this is important for CloseBot. I'm changing the last communication type to email, which is not the default at all. And if you haven't contacted them yet, or they haven't contacted you, it's not going to be set to email. It may be set to like SMS or Messenger or whatever. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay. And then the bot override, what this does, again, when you have to do a bot override to trigger a bot to know that it said something. And when you do this, it will also send the message for you. Since we set the last communication type to email, it sent out an email with this sentence in here. Hi, thanks for your inquiry. Would you like to discuss further? I'll share the email real quick. I can find it. Thanks for the yep. Cool. So look, so I said, hi, thanks for your inquiry. I got an email saying, hi, thanks for your inquiry. Would you like to discuss it further? I say, yes, I would. The bot says, great to hear. What do you think you might be ready to move forward? So it went to the buying bot. So this is where we need to start making new bots. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? No? Okay.
No.
Great. Okay. Now we were working on a listing bot because we already had a buying bot. I'm going to go to the listing bot. Is here. Okay. Okay. So here's the listing bot. This is where we stopped, I think, yesterday. All right. So the listing bot will also ask for the name, email, and phone, like our other bots. We also have this step in CloseBot called skip gathered info that we added, doesn't come with it, that looks for those fields if they're already filled out. For instance, if they're coming in from a form, then it won't need to ask that question. That's how it's going to skip the questions. We did this yesterday if you want to look at the video, if you didn't see it. Okay. And so the listing bot does all this. Now we know that we don't need these questions. So we were doing a listing. So we wanted to be able to pass the listing address through to this objective is really where we ended. And we were working on a form for the individual listing page, this one. And we just talked about how we're going to pass through this hidden field, which has the listing address in it. Okay, no one will see it except the bot. The Go High Level will be able to use that to do things with the bot and back and forth. Okay, so I'm going to save that. We're good there. Okay, so now when they submit this, I got to change that form too real quick. Here it is. Oops, sorry. Go up here.
Hey Josh,
Yeah.
that hidden field
Yeah.
there, which are you just inputting that information yourself
Yeah,
in
I'm going to
there?
make it a custom variable, maybe.
Gotcha. So that field wasn't there. That was just a field that you added and just
Yeah, we did this
because I noticed it's not the address field. So
Oh,
that's
that's
why I was
different. So here's what we're gonna. So this is what we have to do. This is where we left off yesterday. So I need to get this address as a custom variable. So what I'm going to
gotcha.
do is well, I don't. I'm actually no. I am hard coding it on this
Yeah.
form. Could you
Okay.
make a custom variable if you had multiple listings? Yes. I'm not going to get into the more complex way to
No
do
problem.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just need to get the name of this property under. I need to get the address here in order for the bot to be able to chat with it properly. Okay. So
Gotcha.
yep. So that's what we're doing. So because I'm using this hidden value, I can then go. So this is called listing address because I made that as a field here. So I made a new field, a custom field called listing address here. Okay. So I'm going to get this. Here's the
Gotcha.
custom variable uh, unique key that I'll copy. So I can use this now in different places. So what I need to do is we're going to pass this through to the listing bot. Okay. So I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to go to automation. CloseBot before step 2. Okay, here's where we're going to start making multiple bots. And I do need to switch something here that I just learned yesterday. So we have this step here called tag checker. And remember, this is looking for whatever tag is on the bot, and it's going to switch which bot is in use. When you make a conditional if else, it has this default none column, and I have nothing going down it. And that's not actually the correct way to do it. And I thought it was that way because I split it off from this, or this is what it comes with. It just is this level. So there's a none. So I didn't realize I don't need this none. What none should in fact be is the receptionist bot, the default bot. So no problem. All I'm going to do is turn this into, I'm just going to call this reception. And then yep, that's it. I can get rid of this default one here. So it could be default or receptionist, same thing. Sorry, I gotta make this window just a little shorter. Okay. Now, oh, I should have erased that, but that's okay. So I'm going to duplicate this over here. I want to get my receptionist bots number, which is 6053. So if you remember, I'm going to go up here, just put it here so I know. Change this to 6053. Okay, great. Now we need to get into our listing bot, which we didn't even have. I don't have a webhook in here for it, so let's do that. If I go to my listing bot, we get that number. Should be 6052. Okay, copy that, put this in here. Okay, good. All right, so now what I want to do is in the listing bot, we need to pass through that variable that we just made. So I'm going to call this at listing underscore address. Okay. Then the value is going to be that custom field we made, which is called listing address, just like that. Okay. And I made this name up and I'm using the at symbol just for proper naming convention is the only reason I have to use I don't have to use the at symbol. Built-in variables that come with the API for this, which you can see from the documentation, don't have the at symbol. That's why. Okay. Save action, save that. Okay, great. Now we have a really nice tag switcher here, a router here. Okay, cool. So now we have this listing bot. So now what we need to do is in our listing flow, we got to trigger the right bot when it comes through the automation. So this is the form. So this is this form here. When that form gets submitted, I want to, okay, so look, we already did it. So I added the bot listing form so that when it responds, it's going to have triggered the right bot, should have triggered the right bot. Okay. And because we've passed through that variable in this webhook in step 2, everything happens in step 2 in CloseBot, almost everything. We tweak this a bit, but since it's in the step 2 and I'm passing it, Now I can use this variable that I made in CloseBot. So now what I can do is I could say, any questions, and this will be, and I'm gonna do another thing too. Watch this. This will be awesome. Let me think here. Questions. Ask if they have any questions about, and I pay and here at listing address. Okay. And I'm not storing the answer here. Okay. So let's do that so that the client has that and you have it. So all I got to do is go here. What's it called? It's called the questions. Okay. So if I go here, I'm going to go to custom field, add a field. Single line's fine. Questions. Questions. And then it goes in the legal bot or listing bot. Yep. Save. Okay. So now I refresh this real quick. And I can map that answer to a field so that we have it. Hmm. Well, if I can't do it, I'm just going to move on. Let me just here. I feel like it's behind here and I just can't see it or something. It's because it goes in, this is not an alphabetical order. It's an order of when you put it in here. So it would be at the bottom. And I feel like it's cut off. If I do this, there it is. Okay. So yeah, something wrong with this window, whatever. Save. Okay, so now I was going to at least know the address. And I want to do one other thing. This will be cool. So since I have this web page here, I'm going to copy this web address and I'm going to scrape it for use on that with that bot. So if it does ask a question, should be able to answer the questions. Okay, so I'm going to go to the bot and I'm going to go to knowledge storage and I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it 7922 Sly Fox Lane, Virginia. Okay, it's fine. Paste that in here, load it up. Cool. So that'll take a second, but let's go back to our listing bot. Okay, so now with our listing bot, and here's what's cool. So I only have one listing bot, but I want it to work with multiple listings, which should be okay because I passed through this listing address and it's got the address. Let's see if it's smart enough to do that, which would be amazing. I feel it's going to be. There it is, Sly Fox Lane. Save. I'm not going to probably won't get to do two listings during this course, but be cool to try. All right, cool. Now let's give this thing a try. So here's our listing bot. Okay, cool. So now when I hit submit, let me make sure that the terms works. When I hit submit on this form, yep, that's the right address. Okay, cool. So when I hit submit on this form, I should get another email. But this time it should be from listing bot, and I should be able to have a conversation with it about the listing. And then it's going to schedule. And then after we do that, we're gonna make some more calendars so they can do a fake scheduling, and then it's gonna say, wasn't that cool? Do you want to schedule an appointment with me to see how to get AI in your business? So you can use this demo with other niches. It's gonna just be a really awesome AI demo That's kind of what I did. I had like 4 demos, but they were enough to showcase like different uses of a bot and different industries, and other people were able to extrapolate how it may work for them. So cool. Thank you for
Hey,
taking the time. Yes,
hey, question. Jai, I don't know if you're gonna get into this later, but how are you reaching out to these people? What is your,
all organic,
like,
all organic. It's just, and we'll talk about that next week. Is
okay.
how I got traffic, how I've other things I've worked on, how they got traffic, how I've paid for traffic, services that I've used, um, what things I've taught myself that I'll show you guys how to, pay, do your own Facebook. Obviously, if you want to grow quickly, paying for traffic is the best way. I've sent traffic to a website similar to this, and it was pretty successful. I didn't do too much split testing. I didn't spend too much on it, frankly. 'Cause I didn't have a lot to spend, but this is a good enough website to get started from. The demos are Facebook demos, which work pretty good on mobile, right? Especially if a lot of people use Messenger. If they don't, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to use your demo." I'm going to show you next. I'm going to show you next week a text message demo that's very similar to this, but for home services. And it's the same website, just a different demo. And I'll post it so you guys can copy that too. I'm not going to really talk about it too much.
Gotcha.
So there's a ton of ways to get traffic. How I personally did it is, I answered lots of questions. I taught myself. Make sure I'm in different groups and stuff. So there's an organic way to get traffic, which you can see people doing if you're in the CloseBot group or in the ClickFunnels group or in the Go High Level group. Just watch the best people in there. There's other, I followed the best affiliate marketers and the best Go High Level people and the best this, that, and the other, and kind of modeled what they do with how they get organic traffic. Those guys and girls are very good at organic traffic with supplemental paid traffic, just based on building the reputation up, becoming an expert in the business, posting content. Takes time, but any niche you're going to want to be to be in, you need to do the same thing. You need to prove that you're doing thing, prove who you are, prove that you can do it, prove that you have a product they want at a price point they want. So we'll talk about that next week. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So we have this website here and we submitted that form. So that means that I should have got an email. Let's find out. It did. Cool. Hello. Thanks for your inquiry into 7922 Sly Fox Lane. Oh, it worked. What do you know? Would you like to discuss this further? Yes, I would. How many? Let's see if it actually has the knowledge base in there. How many square? And if it doesn't answer the question, see, it's funny because this is a graphic here. Oh no, it's in here somewhere. I'm gonna say because little tip, if you do make this website, this is actually a graphic here, this chunk here, so it looks pretty. So this text at the very top, which is important text, is not actually in the description. Some of it is, but not all of it. So be aware of that. Okay. If you try to edit this, you won't be able to. You're gonna have to figure out a way to get your own graphics. I also didn't want to put an actual Google map in there, but you could, and it's very easy. I think you have to pay for it though. It's much easier to have a link to a Google map, which is why I don't do this. Okay. So I'm replying to this. How many square feet is the house? Now I want to make sure that it responds. I want to say how many bedrooms does it have? Because I know that it should know that. How many bedrooms does it have? How many acres is it on? And I'm asking these questions for the happy path of this bot so we can just test it. Because it says here in actual text that it should be able to read how many bedrooms and how many acres. So if it got this and it was that quick, which I am crossing my fingers to see, if it did, then we're done kind of with the listing bot. We just got to add in this dummy, this technique that I've been doing where it tries to schedule a real appointment with them rather than just showing them a demo. Okay, so while I'm waiting for this email to come back, which I hope it does, let's look at our bot here. So we're on our listing bot. It's going to ask, so it's going to, okay, good. So I'm not going to mess with this bot. So this wasn't fully complete, this bot, so I didn't necessarily need to test. The email should still work. It may go into this question here, but I wonder what so this question is for buying a house. So these questions are irrelevant. I'm not gonna edit the bot until this email conversation is hopefully complete. And I'm still waiting here. Nope, it came through. God, that was fast and it's right. Holy cow. The property boasts 5 bedrooms and sits on 1.5 acres. Sorry, CloseBot makes me laugh because it's like
That's cool.
magic. That's like freaking magic, guys. Look at that. That's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
cool.
So basically, it's like I made my own circle here where I made my website and then I trained the bot on the website and the form triggers the bot. Okay, so that's the listing bot. Awesome. So now we need to finish buying bot I know works. So now we talked about the reception bot. We made 3 bots. Okay, let's do the reception bot, and that's what we're going to finish up with because, and then we'll continue a little bit on Monday. But this is the most important stuff. So reception bot is going to actually be what is here, and this is going to route traffic. So we're going to make an even more sophisticated bot that routes traffic with some cool techniques I just learned that you're going to want to know. So that the client can potentially see, wow, he really knows what he's doing or she knows what he's doing with the bots. And it will also be a better presentation because we're separating which bots have to handle which. Then, we don't have to worry about as much complexity. So I've been making lots of bots lately, and some people have one bot that's super complex, doing all the things. Other people are splitting bots into less complex bots, and that's what we're going to try to do here. Okay. Are there any questions before I go on for the second part of this challenge day?
Yeah, besides tags, are you is tags just the primary way that you're
No, I found a better way. I found a better way, which we're going to
okay,
do.
cool.
Watch, we're going to do a better way than tags. But tags does indeed work. Okay. And it worked because of this. And the only reason it worked well in that instance, Tony, was because, and that's an interesting question you ask, and I just found this out recently. So if you are doing some sort of workflow like this one, where I'm adding a tag, and where I'm adding a tag on here so that so it knows which bot to respond from. It's only working with this tag technique, and I'm using it here because it's fine, because it's doing this bot override. In order for the bot to switch, I learned this very recently. In order for the bot to switch in step 2, which is really the only part of the thing we mess with, in order for it to switch, if I do tag checker or another way, I have to do tag checker because I'm kind of going down that route. Actually, no, I don't. We're just going to call this router. I'll show you a new step. Okay. Um,
Okay.
so, because I'm doing it like this, I'm doing it for a purpose, but because step 2, these triggers at the top don't mean anything. If the reply channel is this, then kind of go through it. But I'm learning that unless there's a conversation between um, bots, it's not going to route properly. You used to be able to send
Oh
stuff
yeah.
right to step 2. You can't really do that anymore. So because you can't do that with the V4 snapshot, this is a V4 snapshot, and that's important for you guys if you're using V2 snapshots, not V2 CloseBot, which is different. The V2 or V3 or V4 snapshot. This is V4. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right. So yeah. Okay. So we know the bot works, and we're working at. So before we do the reception, so let's finish our listing bot. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to put booking here. So we need a calendar. It's got a calendar. So we're doing a listing bot calendar. Okay, that's cool. So this is all going to go to this dummy calendar that we created for this purposes of this. And you'll see what I mean in a sec. Okay, cool. Booking, save that. I want to make sure reception also will go to booking. I want to make sure that the buying bot books and it's hooked up to the calendar. I'm also going to move email and phone over here. Make it a little smaller. Okay. That's not right for some reason. All right, so it doesn't like that calendar. We're going to be sharing, all these demos are sharing one calendar. Or 2 of the demos, or 2 of the bots are sharing one calendar. So I need this dummy calendar. Uh, and I'm just trying to get the last digits here, which are right, pretty sure. Yep. Hmm. All right, why is it doing that? Let's go to general, or integration. There we go. Slowness. Okay, cool. So buying bot's hooked up. Now we're going to finish our last bot, our receptionist bot. And this works for all businesses I've been learning, like not all, but a lot of them. Receptionist bot can take incoming traffic, like from cold traffic, for instance, from this Facebook page, which is how we're going to do this. Okay. So this bot is also going to ask for name, phone, and email, but it's not going to ask for this. And it is going to have a booking on here. So here's where the trick of handing off a bot comes into play. So in step 3, I want to have a way to route between the listing bot and the buying bot and I want to talk to someone bot, which is the receptionist bot, our default bot. So in here, I'm going to say department or no, demo type. I'm just say type. You can, I'm not going to give you, there's different things you could label this, but it's fine. Okay. Find out why at lead underscore name. Find out if at lead name here for a buying bot. Let me do this. Find out what at lead name is here for. Then say the option, the lead may be here for colon, boom, boom, and I'll do to see a listing, and we'll do to sell their house. I guess I do see listing, sell their house, and then to talk to an agent. Okay, so 3 options. And just make it easier for the bot to understand. Been seeing people do this in their prompting, which couldn't hurt. Okay, so I'm going to need to do one other thing here. I'm going to save this. Okay. This objective here is very important. It's the trigger for handing off a bot to another bot, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So I need to, we're adding a field here. I want to add a field here for this type. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to make a new field. I'm going to call it, let's see, it's going to be a drop-down, single list drop-down, and I'll call it, this is better, I'll say agent type. Yeah, I'm going to change the other thing to agent type, but it's fine. Agent type, put it in the legal bot or listing bot group. I named that myself, it doesn't matter. Okay, so our options here are buying, or buying, and these are, I'm just making these up right now. You can do, I've done things already where it's like different legal areas of practice, and the receptionist asks what you're looking for, it answers it, fills this field out, which is the technique we're going to do. Buying, selling, and let's do other, which is the receptionist bot, our default bot, 3 bots. Okay, I'm going to save that. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to change this to agent type. That was the name of our field. Yes, agent type. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to just change the name of that. I'm going to save this real quick. And then when I do that, it's going to reload the go high level connection, and it'll bring in the new field name. So what I'm going to do is agent type, I'm going to do, it's going to be down here. Darn it. Got to open this up and then go down here. There it is, agent type. Close, save. Now, this is the magic part here. Okay, so I'm going to make 3 instances. I'm going to open up all 3 bots at once. Make it easy to see. Receptionist. I think I can go, yeah. Receptionist. This will be the buying bot. I'll put that here. Oops. Oop, nope, nope. Nope, nope. There we go. Okay, and then this one. I'll just do like right here. I can't see well. Okay. That can be tall enough. All right, so now the receptionist is the router, right? Receptionist is the router. So I've got all my bots open here. And the way that you hand off one bot to the other, and I just learned this, this is super huge, super, super huge, is you need to have the same next objective in all of your other bots. And that is the handoff objective. And I'll show you what I mean. I'll explain this visually. So the bot is going to find out what the lead is here for, to see a listing agent, to sell their house, to talk to an agent. And then it's going to map to one of these three categories: buying, selling, other. Buying, selling, other, right? Okay, so once it finds out that answer, it's going to oh shit, I'm gonna lose all these. Let's see. When I do that, let me show you the contact for a second. So the contact, this is me. Got all this stuff on here, so I'm going to erase the contact. But if I open up CloseBot, looking for, yeah, bot default reason. I don't remember putting this in here. Agent type. This is what it's going to check. That's the craziest thing. I don't remember doing that. Weird. Okay, cool. Maybe CloseBot did that based off of the reasons. Well, that would be amazing. It might. It's updating all the time. Okay, okay, we'll move on. Okay, so where were we? Yes, so we have three bots. Our receptionist bot is going to ask why they're here, okay? And then it's going to fill out this field with one of these answers, which is not filled out right now because we haven't run the bot, okay? Then it's going to try to book them. We can add other steps, we may, but this will work immediately when I show you how this works. So it's going to try to book them. Actually, no, I want a different step. I'm going to move booking over. The next question it asks is this is going to be the handoff step, actually. So we're going to call this thanks. And this will make sense. So thank them and tell them one second, or whatever. And then this is a question. So end with a question mark, and you'll see what I mean. And you could label this however you want. Okay, cool. So now I'm not going to update any field. Okay, so this is the routing, and I'll just put this in here for us. Router. Okay, so this step needs to be recreated in all these other bots. Okay, so what that means is that the receptionist bot is going to ask them their name, email, phone, and then find out why they're here. It's going to thank them. And then it's going to route them, okay, based off of our automation here. Okay, so I'm going to add this objective to all of these. So my listing bot, since it already should know their name, email, and phone, I'm going to move those all into one lane here because it should know those. But if they come directly to that bot, then it won't. So prior to here, I'm going to recreate this thanks router. Oh, yeah, I do need to store it I do need to make a variable. 1 second here. And I need to copy what this says. And then I will map this to a variable because I think that might matter. And once you learn how to do this, it's how you route all bots. I didn't know how to do this. All right, so now let's make a new field for that thanks. It's just to map them all to the same field, I think helps. And do single line, next, thanks, legal bot, listing bot, save. Okay, cool. Now, refresh this real quick. Go here and then go here. See, I gotta kind of get in and out of that thing in order for it to refresh. Sorry, give me a sec. Okay. Okay, buying bot, listing bot. Thanks, router. Because I'm gonna do the same. So I'm on the buying bot over here. The time segment is gonna move this here, and then I got to add in this thanks router. And naming it the same is important, and making it all the same is also important. Okay, let's save that. Okay, now in this thanks router here, and then the thanks router on the receptionist default bot. Gonna map it to the thanks field that we just made. I gotta make the window slightly bigger. Thanks. Close save. Here. Thanks. Close save. Same thing here. Thanks. Close save. Okay. So now the receptionist is going to chat with it, come down this thing here, etc., etc. So then we want to make sure that, yeah, so the default bot should be the receptionist bot now when we talk to it on Messenger. So let's test this thing. I know you may have questions or maybe a little slightly confusing, but you'll see what I mean. This is the router. So it's going to come here. It's going to ask what type of person we're looking for. Then it's going to route them. Okay, now we can do this. So this is the router. So we need to change one thing. So Tony, you asked about the way that I did it with tagging. I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to duplicate step 2 just in case I mess it up. Tags. I'll call it tags. I'm using the tags method here, but I'm going to do it a different way here. Okay, so now since we've added the receptionist layer, and the receptionist is going to determine which bot it should talk to, and we know that on this router here, we'll call this router here on this router. So we have a buying bot, a listing bot, and our receptionist. So I'm going to do this differently. Rather than looking at that the tag includes, I'm going to go to custom fields. I'm going to go to agent type is buying bot. See, this is better, much more robust. This is much faster and easier. Agent type is selling. So if it's not one of these, it's going to be blank or it's going to be the other, right? So that's how that will work. I'm going to save that. So this router is being controlled by the receptionist who asks what type of agent we're looking for. It saves it into that little field I was just messing with, right? And then it checks it. So now let's give it a test and see if I'm crazy or not, how crazy I am. Okay, cool. Route. So I'm going to get rid of this contact. So there's a way you can reset the contact, I know, in the contact itself, but it's got all these tags on it and whatnot. I just want to start from scratch because I am using tagging here. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Message. Hi. May have to change. I forgot I made to change the receptionist's her main instructions. Yeah, cool. I did it right. Hello, what's your name? Uh, Josh Rosenfeld. And let's follow along in our receptionist dashboard. Nice to meet you, Josh. How can I assist you today? We need to discuss details. May I have your phone number? Sure. Sure. 595. Whatever. I don't know if there's too many or too little digits. I want to use my real address. Not yet. I'll change it. All right. So now it should ask me, why am I here? Nice. Okay. Looking to buy, sell, or perhaps, I'm looking to buy a home. So if I did this right, should go to listing bot. And right now there's only one listing and a listing bot. So theoretically you could have a listing bot, then sub listings, and et cetera, et cetera. It's just a ton of bots. We don't have the time for that. Now it's interesting, and I didn't ask it that to say that question. And here's what I learned about CloseBot. When you have a question, it's always going to come back with another. When you have an objective, it's always going to ask a follow-up question. So this is why we have the thing, because this now. So now I want to look at our contact. Now let's look at my contact here and see what it did before we continue. So it got all the so the goals accomplished, which CloseBot uses to know its goals have been accomplished, have all been checked off, including agent type. Default reason nonsense is not finished. But this is so agent type is correct. So it knows that it's a buying agent. There is nothing in this thanks field yet that we created because it didn't ask that question yet. It may be this question. I don't know. So let's see what happens. And so this is where it's still slightly confusing for me, at least, that, and I've been able to work my way around it just by good prompting, that it does seem to always ask another question after the after an objective, even if there's no more objectives. At least that's what I've been noticing recently. But let's see what happens. So I'm gonna say, could you tell me a bit more about what you're looking for in a home? A single family home. Now, and we're going to take into account the fact that the bot does ask crazy questions that you didn't tell it to. When this conversation's done, what you can do is an additional info. Look at this. In this message history field, we have the entire conversation string. And that's important. And the reason is because, especially if you're working with realtors, they love email. This will allow you to, when an objective is complete, like a booking, or they said what they're interested in, at the end of the bot conversation, they're not going to want to look in Go High Level. They're not going to want to look at their app, probably the Go High Level app, right? You'll be able to send them an email summary of the conversation so they can read through the entire thing and see exactly what the lead said. And that's really cool. Okay. So great. Let's see what the bot said, though. A single family home. Great choice. A single family home. Give me just a moment. Give me just a moment to gather some information for you. So I guarantee this is that thank you step that I told it to ask as a question. And watch. But that's okay. I know that it's going to work. Oop. Okay, see, look, so this is great. This worked. So this is the receptionist spot. The last thing it said was that's exciting, Josh, blah, blah, blah. And it asked me one follow-up question, and I answered the question, and I wanted it to do that. Okay. And the reason is because when you do that, the bot's going to go through this workflow here. Step 2. This works for any industry. It's going to go through step 2 here. And based on the answer to this question, which if you remember is being stored in that pull down menu we created, buyer, seller, other. This router here is looking for that, right? And it routes. So that's how it does the routing. So now if I look at our listing bot dashboard, I bet you we're going to see the second part of that conversation. I hope we are. Oh, I see what it did. So I think I just need to switch what it thinks is buying and selling because I'm reversing it. A buying bot is for the seller and a buyer bot is for the seller. Okay, so let me just double check here. I bet it went to buying bot. Yep. Okay, so what I need to do then is here, I need to switch these two things up because I can actually, let's see if it's wrong here. If agent type, yeah, you're right. It's the other way around based on how yeah, they're selling a home and they're buying a home. Okay.
Hey Josh, sorry, where did you see that in the
What?
CloseBot portal?
What? Where did I see what?
Which bot is speaking to?
I'm manually going through and checking.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, okay. So you're switching between one
Yeah,
and
I'm
another.
I'm
Okay,
checking where the
gotcha.
receptionist bot ended, which is over here on this conversation, which is what I wanted. Then it kind of asked that weird random handoff question,
Mm-hmm.
which is in the end of one and in the beginning of another. That's the handoff that I didn't know how to do, but it works. So then they respond to it, and now it's in the buying bot. So if we're gonna yeah, let's test this again. So now we're in the testing phase. I mean, that was pretty simple in about an hour. We built, not even an hour, in like about a 40 minutes, we had three bots and now we're connected and they're chatting and they're asking questions. But this router trick here, guys and girls, is super important. This could be what type of pressure washing are you needing for? I want windows, I want, garage, I want driveway, whatever. This is what does the switching. This field here could be any field you want as long as it has a range of choices. And that's the switcher. And the default bot, which I'm calling receptionist, is the none branch, which is you can't rename it. So there is a none branch. Okay. Cool. Save that just in case. Save that.
Hey, Josh,
Yes.
you actually can rename the none branch now.
Where? Where? How?
Your mouse is right there on it.
You already did it.
Yeah, I guess.
Right. You can't delete it. I'm sorry. I meant you can't delete it.
Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna wonder like, well, I do have something on the none branch, which is right. There's a flow coming down it where before it was blank. Like here, you don't. I always thought it just had to be none and nothing happens. None doesn't necessarily mean nothing happens. It means it didn't. This trigger failed, so it goes down this path.
So it used to be that you couldn't rename the none branch, it was none,
I know.
and now
Yeah.
you can't. Now you can.
Very helpful. It makes
Yeah.
it makes way more sense. So even a
Yeah.
renaming of this always said none. So you're like, okay, I don't put anything in here. Like it's not a bot, but it is. And so I had the none branch under the router on a bunch of other bots. It wasn't working properly. It was just off. And I learned from the source that you want the none to be the default bot. So that's why I like naming it default, but we're using
Yeah.
receptionist as default. Okay. Yeah.
So, guys, the none is basically you have these conditions, and it's basically if it doesn't meet those conditions, then everything else. It's really like a computer programming thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. This is how you program Go High Level, and then via that the bot. It's all this workflows, which is what makes Go High Level so incredible. I mean, there's other software that does all this stuff, but the automations are, I mean, yeah, it's unbelievable. You can even do more stuff, I'm imagining. That's about as complex as I can get right now, is if-then loops or if-then statements. Okay, let's try this bot one last time. All right, so now the buying, I'm going to say I want to buy a home. So when I've been testing bots, just so you guys know, it is helpful to try to do the same, general conversation flow, the happy path. I always, because once you start throwing it a curveball or trying something different, it's going to be completely different because it is a bot, and that's why we like the bots, but it's hard to test. So try to keep things similar. Hi. My name is Barry Smithson. Now, here's what's interesting, and this is what I noticed with Facebook, that if you look at the bot for the receptionist bot, if I look at the messages here, this is cool. If I look at the messages, the name actually semi-failed. And this is something I just realized recently, too, that is kind of important when you're trying to troubleshoot Facebook, incoming Facebook. So watch. So if I click on Barry Smithson, oh, no, that's the outgoing here. False phone. Okay, because it asked me for two. So this is also kind of new, by the way. The bot is now asking multiple questions in one chunk. See that? Up here, may I have your name. It did ask for my number, though. I don't know why it says false phone. So, never mind, disregard. So logs. It is. whatever. But when I said my name's Barry Smithson, it does not change Go High Level to reflect that. And if you look in your logs, it does say that it gave a false name. So it will not overwrite the name coming in from Facebook. It is strange. Anyways, let's continue. My name is Barry Smithson. How can I assist you? What's your phone number? So it's asking, how can you assist me? And my phone number. So if I said I want to buy a house, first, it made you something different. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to give it another phone number. But be aware that it is asking 2 questions and it might fill out something ahead of an objective. I'm not 100% sure. That can also be in the prompting. So we'll deal with that later. And then we'll finish up after this test and we'll continue on Monday. Yeah, so any email address. So this weekend, just, keep working on this stuff if you are following along. I'll post this by the end of the day. I'll keep posting the snapshots. Next week, we're going to continue with this, finish up these bots. Then we'll have all the material we'll need to do marketing. We may do one other page, actually. Okay. I want to buy a home. I didn't ask it to say that, but remember we said the bot asks a question always after every objective, and this is one of them. But it's okay, because we'll have this recorded to send the client, or to look at yourself if you're an agent. But this is the trigger. So this is the trigger question that does the handoff to the second bot, and we're hoping. Are there other must-haves on your list for your ideal home? No. All right, so let's just make sure that our listing bot is indeed the bot talking right now. No, yeah, this would be the listing bot because I want to buy a home. Yes. Okay, cool. So this worked. The switch worked. If you hold on for just a moment. Okay, so why did it do that? Because obviously that's probably because of ask any questions. So thanks. Ask any questions. Booking. All right, we'll get to that. See this. Okay, we'll fix this up. Okay, so we'll finish this up on Monday. Are there any questions before I end the class today, the course? Okay, cool. Well, thank you for attending on a beautiful Friday. Hopefully it's nice for you all, and I will see you Monday. James, I'll see you later. And have a great weekend, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.